I wore my gingham dress, the one with little flowers blue. The day you said you loved me, said your heart was mine and true. We danced in Daddy's hayloft in the golden summer air, and you swore on every star above you'd always meet me there. The dress got washed on Monday with the sun and lye soap sting, but the memory of your whisper, it just clung to everything. Now the blue is turned to gray wash, and the fabric's thin and worn, like the promise that you gave me on that sweet and distant morn. This faded gingham dress, it hangs alone in my press, a ghost of girlhood, sweet caress, and my happiness. It tells no tales to company, it's just for me to see how bright a color love can be before it fades away from me. Yes, it fades away from me. Sometimes I take it down and hold the cotton to my cheek, and for a dizzy moment I can hear the timbers creak, smell the dust and sunshine, feel your arms so strong and tight. Then the present rushes back in with its unforgiving light. New dresses hang beside it, smarter cuts and richer hue, but they don't hold no magic, they don't speak of me and you. Just of a woman lonely, trying hard to play her part, with a faded gingham secret stitched right into her heart. This faded gingham dress, it hangs alone in my press, a ghost of girlhood, sweet caress, and my happiness. It tells no tales to company, it's just for me to see how bright a color love can be before it fades away from me. Fades away, just fades away. I trace the roots upon your back with my fingertips at night, the mountain ranges of your spine in the soft and lamplit light. Your skin was my geography, a map I knew by heart of every lonely highway where you'd play your wondrous part. I charted all the crossings where the rivers met the pain, and kissed the coordinates of every scar like falling rain. You'd speak in names of truck stops in the language of the miles. Your eyes held shifting landscapes and your unfamiliar smiles. I was your cartographer, recording every turn. The cold hotel in Cheyenne where your loneliness would burn. I bound it all in memories, a silent secret book of a man who was an ocean with a never hook. Temporary guest, a pencil mark the heat erased with the morning's first light. One day the mail just entered every edge of my bedside, a blank space where your form had been, the continent denied. No notes, no explanation, just the echo in the hall of a man who heard the siren of some distant final call. And I was left with just the chart of a territory lost, knowing every inch of him was worth the cruel final cost. To love a wanderer is to love the wind. You feel its caress, but you never really will. It's hard. back slaps. You'll remember when so loud, your fishing trips, your football bets, the sentimental crowd. You drank and boast and planned the years, thick as thieves you swore. But I just poured the whiskey, mopped the spills up off the floor. I saw the cracks before the quake, the envy in his grin. When your business started booming and his own was wearing thin. He called you brother, hate your food, borrowed your tools, your ear, and all the while he's planting seeds of discontent and fear. Told the boys down at the yard, you cut a shady deal. Whispered that your lucky streak was somehow less than real. You didn't see it, man, that blind to snakes in their own den, to the poisons in the water, and that trust is gone. And then let me tell you something, honey, about a friend who's true. She don't wear a backward cap or talk of old Mizzou. She's the one who held your head when the world came crashing down, when your brother took his story and made his petty round. My loyalty ain't noisy. You don't need a club or a sign. It's cleaner than a Judas kiss, and it's forever mine to get to you. So let him have his whispers, let his small world spin. The only crew that matters now is the one you're standing in. Right here with me. So raise a glass to real friends, to the ones who see the fight, who don't just share the sunshine but stand throughout the night. God, keep a secret tally of who owes who a debt, who wiped the blood and the trail of your collar without is a forever solid line. They say hell is of a people. Sometimes that's mighty true, but heaven is a woman who sees the hell in for you. So let me tell you something, honey, about a friend who's true. She's the one who held your head when the world came crashing. My loyalty ain't noisy, it's quiet and deep. It's the promise that I'll hold your faith whenever you need from the doubt. So let the traitor go with his small and bitter face. The captain of your soul's right here, and we're sailing straight. Sailing straight. Hey! You'll find me neath the hood of a 52 with grease up to my elbows. Yes, it's true. I know the language of a sputter and a knock, the secret poetry of every lock. I can tune an engine purring like a cat, fix a flat before you tip your hat. But the one machine I never could repair is the one that sends him out into the air. He's got a motorbike he calls his only bride, a restless chrome and leather, wild-eyed ride. He brings me gifts of pistons and a chain, and talks of open roads and summer rain. I hand him ranches, listen to his plans for Dakar dreams and distant foreign lands. I'm his pit stop queen, his mechanic and his friend, knowing perfectly well how this will end. His grease and grace, baby, that's my fate. I spin the wheels while he checks the gate. I give him speed and he takes the race, leaving just the smell of oil on my face and this empty space. Yeah, grease and grace. I built him stronger, faster, made him fly, taught that metal beast to touch the sky. And with a kiss for luck and a slap on the steel, I watched my masterpiece become so real that it carries off the only heart I own to a finish line I'll never know alone. You can't be the road in the garage, it seems. You're either part of the engine or part of the dreams. It's grace and grace, baby, that's my fate. I spin the wheels while he checks the gate. I give him speed and he takes the race, leaving just the smell of oil on my face. This grease and grace, aching. I built my kingdom from the dust with my own mind, my own two hands. I carve my laws in granite slabs, I rule across the sands. No gentle questions my command, no scribe dares miss a word. The history books will speak my name like that of any lord. I am a monument in life, unyielding, sharp and clear, a master of the seen and felt, and of the hidden fear. But monuments cast longer shadows in the setting of the sun, and when the court has retired and the daily work is done, a different desert opens up inside the palace wall. A vast and silent emptiness, the quietest free fall. And the granite of my edicts turns to shifting, yielding sand beneath the weight of one soft wish I cannot quite command. Pharaoh's granite, Pharaoh's sand, two sides of one same land. The face that fronts 1,000 foes, the palm that seeks a hand, not to hold a scepter, but to simply interlace, to find a mirror in another's unarranged, uncarved face. For one brief hour of the night, the ruler lays aside the crown of her creation in the lonely lace inside. The dawn will bleach the sky again, and I will stand erect, all traces of the desert dream meticulously checked. The sand will harden back to stone, the will resume its play, and I'll be Pharaoh once again and rule another day. But deep within the cornerstone, where no one thinks to see, a grain of that soft yearning sand will wait eternally. To rule is to be separate, to stand above the stream. But even pyramids need dreams, or so it seems, in a Pharaoh's dream. Pharaoh's granite, Pharaoh's sand, two sides of one same land. The face that fronts 1,000 foes, a palm that seeks a hand, not to hold a scepter, but to simply interlace. For one brief hour of the night, the ruler lays aside Yeah. The crown of honor to lace you with. Two sides of one same land. The face that fronts 1,000 foes, a palm that seeks a hand, not to hold a scepter but to simply interlace for one brief hour of the night. The ruler lays aside. Shack number 9, at the end of the road, where the scraggly sun forgets to grow. Paint's all blistered, roof's letting in the very sky where my troubles begin. But these 4 walls are witnesses to more than just my loneliness. They held my mama's weary song, and they're holding mine before too long. The floorboards know the weight of men who came and promised time and again. They creak a warning when one draws near, a language that only a woman can hear. This rusty stove has burned its share of dreams as light as midnight air. And this one window, cracked and small, has seen me standing proud and tall. Got the shack of a 9 blues deep in the grain of these pines. Ain't no mansion, ain't no shrine, but every splinter's mine, all mine. It groans with every delta wind, with every storm that rolls on in. But it's standing, and I'm standing too, in this worn out, blessed number 9 blue. They offered me a better place, a row house with a hint of grace. But grace don't live in bricks and mortar, it lives right here by the murky water, in the ghost of my papa's laugh, in the path my own feet map. Shack number 9 is my true north, it's the ground I'm walking back and forth. One day they'll come and knock it down, put up something new for the folks in town. But they can't bulldoze what's in my head, the life I live, the tears I shed. They'll sweep the dust out in the street, but this old shack and my heart will beat in time somewhere, in merry sound on this holy heart and hallowed ground. Got the shack of a 9 blues deep in the grain of these pines. Ain't no mansion, ain't no shrine, but every splinter's mine, all mine. It groans with every delta wind, with every storm that rolls on in. But it's standing, and I'm standing He said yes, darling, yes, to every single plan I made. To Sunday drives and porch-side chats and lemonade and shade. His yes was like an echo in a canyon deep and wide, bouncing back my own hopes with nothing true inside. Yes, we'll marry in the springtime. Yes, I'll find a better trade. Yes, this little rented room won't be where our dreams are laid. I build a house of echoes on foundations made of air, and dance right through the hallways without a single care. Oh, the echo in his yes was the loudest sound of all. It drowned the quiet whisper of the coming fall. It wasn't no agreement, it was just a sweet delay, a hollow confirmation of everything I'd say until I had nothing left to say. The day I stopped the talking and just waited in the quiet, the echo finally faded in a terrifying riot of silence, just pure silence. No agreement, no dissent, just the understanding of the ways love was ever meant. A real man's know is kinda cuts you clean and lets you bleed, but an echo man just lets you plant an ever-coming seed and water it with loneliness and wait there in the drought till you figure out the only voice you're hearing is your own wearing out. Oh, the echo in his yes was the loudest sound of all. It drowned the quiet whisper of the coming fall. It wasn't no agreement, it was just a sweet delay, a hollow confirmation of everything I'd say until I had nothing left to say. My light cuts through the gale force night, a blade of steady gold. I guide the tankers, save the barks, a story often told. I live where others wouldn't dare. On this relentless rock I face the ocean's fury with the strength to take the shock. My hands are rope burn, weather crease, my eyes know every squall. I am the keeper of the flame, the answer to the call. I need no crew, I need no help. I am a one-woman stand against the chaos of the deep and the treachery of land. But there's a storm that doesn't blow from east or west or south. It brews inside the granite walls behind my own stern mouth. It's not for ships that founder or for sailors in the brine. It's for the conversations missed, for a voice that isn't mine, for the touch of human kindness. No not born of dire need, but just the simple, quiet proof that another soul can hear the silent bell that rings in me when the real storms finally pass and the loneliness comes rolling in a different kind of blast. And in the eye of that still storm, the keeper lets it break, not a sob upon the wind, but a deep and silent ache, a longing for a sheltered cove, not to be the sheltering wall, to let the beacon flicker once and feel no fear of fall, to be the ship just for a night and not the guiding star, to be held close and not just hold things as they are. The dawn will bring its duties, the lens must be kept clean, the logbook must be written, a routine, steady scene. And I'll be there unwavering, my light, a constant friend to every soul that passes till my lonely watch shall end. But the truest strength I've ever shown out here where brave men flee is allowing this vast human need to sometimes wash o'er me. A lighthouse warms the rocky shores of danger sharp and cold. My hidden storm warns only me, I'm human growing old. And in the eye of that still storm, the keeper lets it break, a longing for a sheltered cove, not to be the sheltering wall, to be the ship just for a night. Питание громко, но слитня ясностью, a longing for a sheltered cove, not to be the sheltering wall, to be the ship just for a night. Друг, дай легко The china clock upon the shelf, it doesn't tell the time. It measures out the emptiness in a slow, relentless chime. Tick, a dust mote settles, talk, a dream grows thin. It's counting down the minutes till the evening chores begin. Aging and then again. See a polished porcelain jail with gilded hands that point towards a universal pale detail. I used to hear a symphony in the rhythm of the day. Now it's just a metronome keeping my desires at bay. Tick for wash the dishes, talk for mend the seam, a heartbeat for a lifeless, a respectable dead dream. I wanna throw that clock against the wall and watch the spring unwind, and let the shattered pieces show the chaos in my mind. It's the ticking of the china clock, a sound so small and sweet that carves a canyon in my soul with its polite, discreet beat. It syncopates my sighing to a waltz of wasted years, and amplifies the silence till it's all my spirit hears. years. A perfect tiny torture in this clean and quiet hell. A story being told of me, a story known too well. Sometimes I stop and hold my breath to try and break the spell, to feel a moment timeless before the next tick falls. But in that vacuum terror grows, the void of what comes next. If not this measured tiny depth, then what wild complex text? So I breathe again and welcome back the familiar small command of the ticking of the china clock in my obedient hand. Madness is a grand explosion of fire in the street, but this is a slower burn, so careful and so neat. It's the ticking of the china clock, a sound so small and sweet that carves a canyon in my soul with its polite, discreet beat. It syncopates my sigh into a waltz of wasted years and amplifies the silence till it's all my spirit hears. Tick, tock, tick, tick, tock, tick. He doesn't talk about the war, the one with sand and blood. But there's another war he fights, and memories stick mud. With Reyes spotted his own eyes in that relentless heat. The man who knew his every breath made his pulse complete. A tactical, a deadly dance of trust and pinpoint grace. And then the thing that happened in that unforgiving place. He won't say PTSD, he won't say Ray messed up. He just gets quiet, still as stone, and stares into his cup. A bond forged under fire, stronger than a wedding band, was shattered by a moment's choice on some far distant sand. Not by the enemy, but by the man who held his life. A crack in the foundation that cut deeper than a knife, or shrapnel, and the VA can't fix this kind of wound. It's the brother in arms who failed you in the mortal swoon. So I conduct the unspoken debris here in our living room. I read the weather in his eyes, dispel the gathering gloom. I don't ask questions, I just am a silent, steady presence, absorbing the aftershock of a fallen comrade's essence. I am the civilian who stands guard while he fights the ghost of the one friend who was supposed to matter. The very Christmas card, sometimes with a scrawled "How you been?" My man just throws it in the fire with a tired, haunted grin. The betrayal isn't in the act, maybe, but in the after, in the living with the consequence, and the hollow, empty laughter where camaraderie once lived. And my battle night by night is to prove that some alliances won't vanish in the light of truth. That my loyalty is a different, deeper trench, one he can retreat to without fear of a fellow human flinch. They teach him leave no man behind, it's a soldier's sacred code. But what about the man left behind by the weight of the heavy load of trust betrayed? So I conduct the unspoken naive here in our living room. I read the weather in his eyes, dispel the gathering gloom. I am the civilian who stands guard while he fights the ghosts of the one friend who was supposed to matter the very most. Dug this well with my daddy's hands, deep into the promised land. Struck a vein that ran cool and clear for 40 years. Through doubt and fear we drank our fill, through dust and drought. That water's what my life's about. But yesterday I dropped the pail and heard a different, darker tale. It hit the water with a hollow sound, not the sweet splash on fertile ground. A clang like iron, a coffin sigh as it sank into the deep and dry. I hold it up, my arms near broke. Took a sip and my whole world choked. The sweetness gone, a mineral sting, a taste of some forgotten thing. Oh, the well runs bitter, the deep springs turn to gall. The foundation of my yesterday's beginning to crumble and fall. What do you do when your cornerstone starts to weep and weep alone? The truth you drank turns sharp and stale in the bottom of a rusty pail. Was it the fault that ran too deep, a secret that the earth would keep? Did my own tears, salt and sour, poison the source forevermore? I can't blame the sky, it gives its rain. I can only bear this taste of pain and wonder if the water knew before I did that love was through. A man can leave, a house can burn. There's lessons that a soul can learn. But when the earth itself betrays and changes its ancient trusted ways, where does a woman set her cup? Where does she lift her head up? The ground is shifting under me, down to the cold heart of the sea. Oh, the well runs bitter, the deep springs turn to gall. The foundation of my yesterdays beginning to crumble and fall. What do you do when your cornerstone starts to weep and weep alone? The truth you drank turns sharp and stale in the bottom of a rusty pail. My body's at the bus stop in a sensible beige coat, but my soul is window shopping down a more exotic throat. It's trying on a leopard hat in a boutique on Grand, sipping something complicated that it don't quite understand. It's flirting with a stranger who has trouble in his eyes, while I'm checking my wristwatch under these familiar skies. I press my nose against the glass of a life I'll never lead, admire the mannequin's cool pose, her perfect planet seed of discontent, and passers by like me who pause and stare at the artful, empty glamour and the nothing really there. But oh, that nothing looks so fine, displayed on velvet deep, while my something feels so heavy that it makes me wanna weep. Got a window shopper soul on a five and dime routine, living vicarious and thirsty on a magazine queen seat. I can taste the foreign coffee, smell the smoke of some left bank, while I'm packing Monday's lunchbox with a solitary thank you for the view. From this side of the glass, this solid, clear and clean glass. The bus arrives with a hydraulic sigh, a beast of dull news. It swallows all us window shoppers in our tired, silent suits. We rattle past the glitter towards our numbered waiting doors, and hang our coats on sameness like we've done 1,000 times before. But my soul leaves a smudge, a wistful print upon that bright cold pane, a ghost of one still lingering in the gently falling rain. They say wanting ain't possessing, and looking ain't the same as touch, but sometimes, honey, looking is the thing that hurts so much. Got a window shopper soul on a five and dime routine, living vicarious and thirsty on a magazine queen seat. I can taste the foreign coffee, smell the smoke of some left bank, while I'm packing Monday tell me when the sea will rise. I just feel a pool inside me, looking toward the distant skies. Where you are, I chart the tides by your name, my distant anchored love. The moon that moves my ocean is the same one above your head. It's a saltwater astronomy, a navigation of the heart, where every calculation only tells me we're apart by leagues and leagues of loneliness, by fathoms of the blue. But still I mark the high tide by the thought of you, and the low tide by the emptiness you leave behind. A saltwater affair etched in the margins of my mind and on the shore. Yeah, I chart the tides by your name. This love's a saltwater affair, it's always just the same. A coming in of hopefulness, a going out of pain. A beach littered with if-onlys after a hurricane. Of longing, you're the gravity that pulls my teardrops to the sea. You're the distant solid land that's never there for me to stand on, just to dream of in my soul. Water charts and scopes, you're the coastline of my deepest, most impossible hopes. So I'll study the currents, I'll watch the seagulls wheel, and I'll feel the saltwater love that I can never make feel real, just tidal. My girlfriends have their lovers who take them out to dine, who hold their hands in movie shows and pour them local wine. My lover sends me postcards with a foreign sticky stamp and a kiss that's crossed an ocean and is invariably damp. With sentiment and distance, it's a saltwater kind of kiss. It leaves a stain of yearning and a vague and salty bliss. On my fingertips I trace the postmark, feel the raised ink of your street. It's the closest that I get to feeling your heartbeat against mine. It's a paleontology of passion, dug from deep in the saltwater strata, where the lonely memories keep in a road. Yeah, I chart the tides by your name. They say all rivers find the ocean in the end, but what about two oceans never meeting, just a friend to the same moon that's us two separate saltwater seas, stirred by the same longing in the same cool breeze, but never mingling, never touching, shore to shore, just echoing the other's unrelenting roar. In the night it's a symphony of separation, vast and old, a saltwater fair in a story never told, of union just of tide and pool and land in constant might, and a woman on a cliffside charting the water by the night and by your name. So the charts are spread before me with your name on every line, the X that marks the spot where your distant shore meets mine. Only in theory, in the saltwater of my thought, a love that can't be captured, only endlessly be sought. Across the chart the tides come in, the tides go out, and I am here, a navigator filled with doubt, and with a perfect saltwater faith in a land I'll never see, because I chart the tides by your name, and the name is you, and the sea is between us. In the fog, your name, my love, of the saltwater affair. check your tie knot, give a wink and flash a smile. A confident known entity to go the extra mile. But lately when you pass the glass, you stop and squint your eyes. There's a disconnect, a slip page, a most unpleasant surprise. A man in the mirror is a stranger now, with a question on his face. He mimics your movements, but he's lost in time and space. He don't know your story, he's just going through the motions. A ship without a captain on the emotional oceans of your life. That's my doing. A little Grigger's in the shine, a whisper to the quicksilver, a twist of turpentine, an intention to sever you from the you that you once knew. So every glance becomes a tiny private Waterloo for your ego. I laid a curse on the reflection, a glamour on the pain, so the face you see is haunted by a dull and constant pain of not belonging to itself. The man in the mirror's a stranger. His eyes are just like yours, but hold the look of someone in danger of disappearing. You touch the glass, it's cold and it is flat, but the face on the other side don't know where it is at. Oh yeah, curse on the reflection, my revenge served ice cold. Not on your body, darling, but on the story that you told yourself about yourself. Now the telling's all askew, thanks to the stranger in the mirror who looks an awful lot like you, but ain't. You'll try to clean the surface, think it's soap scum or a smear, but the fog is on the inside, buddy, crystal clear and permanent. You'll buy a new glass, fancy framed and fine, but the stranger will be waiting in that brand new silver line. A perception in the toaster, in the kettle, in the blade of your knife at dinner, in the shadow that you made on the wall. Ever a flourished surface holds a trap, a little piece of vengeance from a woman on the map of your past, and you'll start to avoid them. Turn your head away from storefront windows, from the chrome, from the light of day on a puddle, cause a stranger is there, confusing and confused. The life's work of self-love and utterly diffused by my craft. I laid a curse on the reflection. They'll say you're going crazy, that your mind is coming loose. They'll never know the artistry, the purpose of the news. I tied around your image, not your neck, a kind of fate to lose your very self, then to simply feel the hate and move on. This is forever, this is you undone. Not by a knife or poison, but by the very sun that shows your form. It will cast a stranger's shadow at your feet, a companion in your solitude, a bitter dark repeat of my lesson, that to break a woman's heart is to risk your soul, not in hellfire, but in the loss of all control over the mirror, over the reflection. Yourself, a curse on the reflection, a spell well cast and true. I hope you and the stranger have a lot to talk about, you too, cause I'm done, my work is finished, and every shine is silver steel. You'll find the man who lost himself, bring him nothing but fear. The stranger in the mirror, my curse, my answer. You see a living room for sharing, with a fireplace and a rug. I see potential obstacles in the floor that's hard to tug. My suitcase from beneath the bed in case of sudden fire. You see a bedroom for our dreams and passions to inspire. I see the quickest path from bed to where my coat is hung, the geometry of leaving while the farewell's on your tongue is sweet. The floor plan of my mind is drafted for the fleet. Every cozy corner's just a place I soon won't see. I memorized the creaky boards, the lock that sticks a bit, not for security, but for a fast and graceful exit from your life. I got the emergency exit blues. It's an architectural state. Every welcome mat's a challenge, every open door a gate that swings both ways with emphasis on out. I'm always drawn to the alley, not the avenue, the twilight, not the dawn of commitment. Yeah, the floor plan of my mind has arrows pointed clear to the threshold, to the sidewalk, to the vanquishing of fear. By running, it's a blueprint for a solitary soul who mistakes a warm and willing heart for a temporary hope in the weather. So I'll stay a while, enjoy the roof, the walls, but I'll always know precisely how the hallway echoes, calls me to go with the exit blues. Your love feels like a shelter from a cold and rainy night, but shelters can be prisons if you lose the will to fight. For your freedom is my freedom, is my most prized possession, more than your affection, more than any lover session. Sweet nothings, those nothings turn to something mighty fast, to obligations, expectations, ties that are meant to last and to bind. So while you're telling me your hopes, I'm measuring the space between your heart and the front door and planning my own case. For departure, it's not cruel, it's just a fact of my design. A heart that's drawn in pencil, not in ink, on a shaky line on the floor plan of my mind. I got the emergency exit blues. I got the emergency exit blues. Some women collect china or recipes or rings. I collect transit schedules and the feeling that time brings of a journey with no destination, just the going on. It's the only thing that feels like home when all the rest is gone or gets too close. So I'll study your floor, your walls, your light, not to make a home here, but to plan my stealthy flight into the unknown, which is the only place I'm known. A woman with a suitcase and a heart that's turned to stone. Around the edges for protection from the very trap of a love that doesn't have a clear and well-marked exit method. So admire the fireplace, arrange the furniture with care. I'll be admiring the doorknob and the clean and empty air. On the other side, the floor plan of my mind is set in stone, a monument to leaving every lover quite alone with their dreams of we. I have a dream of me in a suitcase by the door and a clear path to the street. It's the emergency exit blues, my constant loyal theme, a life lived in the margins. forgive me. It's the floor plan, blueprint, exit, quiet, floor plan on my spirit. I booked a call at 7 when the rates are halfway down. I sit here in the hallway in my faded dressing gown and wait for that fire ringing that sounds a world away, and pray the connection's better than it was the other day. There's static on the transatlantic line. It crackles and it hisses. It turns your I love you dear into a string of airy kisses that I can feel. We're talking through a tunnel made of foam, and half the things I say to you, you never quite find home. They fall into the ocean in the space between the wires, a sacrifice to distance, to our impossible desires for closeness. This saltwater affair is conducted through the static and the hum. Your voice is just a ghost of what it might have become. If you were here, the miles turn your laughter into sighs and magnify the silence between my soft goodbyes and your good night. Yeah, the static on the transatlantic line is a soundtrack of a love that I can never make be mine in any real way. It's a love of echoes and of delay, a conversation with a shadow that's 3,000 miles away. Across the salt water and the static is the truth, the noisy, empty evidence of our uncoupled youth. And love, I tell you about my weather, you tell me about your town. We make our little jokes, but the happiness is drowned by the cost per minute ticking and the knowledge in my breast that after this connection I'll need hours just to rest from the effort of imagining you're sitting in this chair instead of just a voice that's breaking up in the cold night air of my bedroom. It's a phantom limb, this love, it aches and itches, temporary relief is when the telephone switch connects us through the static, through the saltwater vast, a fleeting, fragile bridge that's never built to last beyond the call. This saltwater affair is conducted through the static, sometimes in a clear moment. Your voice comes through so plain, I could almost touch the warmth, I could almost feel the rain that's falling where you are. And my heart gives a foolish leap as if the ocean vanished and you were here and mine to keep. But then the static surges, a wave of empty sound, and you're gone again, and I am just a woman root bound on the wrong continent, with the receiver to her ear, and a love that's made of whispers that she never really hears, just guesses it through the salt water and the night, a static filled and longing, artificial light. So here's to the static, the third party in our bed, the constant crackling reminder of the things we've left unsaid, because they're too expensive, or they get lost at sea in this saltwater affair between you and me. Through the transatlantic line, with a static and it's grown, the only ocean in this love that I can call my own. Static in the salt water between.